You know that moment when your eyes meet someone else's, and you both look away too quickly, almost guilty. Or those nights when you lie awake replaying conversations you never should have had, thinking about a touch that never happened, but feels like it could. That magnetic pull, that sharp jolt of adrenaline when you know you shouldn't want something, but you still do. This is where forbidden love begins. There's something about the things we're not supposed to have that makes them glow brighter in our minds, like a locked door in a hallway. The more we're told it's off limits, the more we ache to know what lies behind it. Desire becomes a fire that doesn't just warm us, it burns us. It takes over reason. It sneaks into our thoughts. It whispers in the silence when nobody else is around. Why does the forbidden feel so powerful, so addictive? The answer lies in the way human beings are wired. We are drawn to mystery, to scarcity, to the idea that what is rare must be valuable, when someone is already claimed, or when a connection feels too risky. The danger itself creates a rush that feels impossible to resist. It's not only attraction, it's the thrill of stepping close to the edge without falling. Think about it. The conversations carried out in hushed tones. The stolen moments that feel like they belong to another world. The constant dance between temptation and restraint. Each of these becomes more than just a connection between two people. It becomes a symbol of defiance, of hunger, of chasing something that makes your heart beat faster, simply because you know you shouldn't. Forbidden love often feels less like a choice, and more like a shadow that follows you, no matter how much you try to shake it. It's the thought that lingers in your chest even when you're with someone else. It's the text you almost send, the words you almost say, the lips you almost kiss. The forbidden becomes a ghost in your life, haunting your routines, making the ordinary feel empty compared to the fantasy of what could be. And yet, this desire comes with its own darkness. For those who have been cheated on, it is betrayal wrapped in lies. It is trust shattered by someone else's secret hunger. For those who cheat, it is a hunger that grows with every boundary crossed. One that rarely satisfies, because what makes it intoxicating is not love itself, but the fact that it was never supposed to happen. Desire in its forbidden form is like chasing shadows. You can never truly hold on to it. The closer you get, the more it slips through your fingers, leaving behind guilt, confusion, and sometimes destruction. But still, we find ourselves pulled into its gravity, as if the danger itself makes it sweeter. The truth is, the forbidden becomes addictive because it mixes pleasure with risk, intimacy with secrecy, passion with danger. That cocktail is powerful enough to cloud judgment, to make smart people reckless, and loyal people stray. So tonight, whether you are someone who has been hurt by it, or someone caught up in its pull, we look deeper into the question that has haunted lovers for centuries. Why do we find ourselves addicted to what we cannot have? The pull of forbidden love isn't just emotional, it's chemical. Inside the brain, desire is tied to one of the most powerful systems we have, the dopamine reward pathway. Dopamine is often called the feel-good chemical, but in truth, it's not about feeling good. It's about craving. It's about motivation. It's the spark that keeps us chasing something just out of reach. When you're told you can't have something, your brain doesn't simply accept it. Instead, it treats that thing like treasure. It lights up with dopamine every time you think about it, every time you get the smallest taste of it. A glance, a word, a secret text message. And here, the scarcity principle takes hold. The rarer something seems, the more valuable it feels. When that rarity is tied to love, to intimacy, to attraction, the intensity multiplies. That's why the thrill of secrecy is so intoxicating. It's not just about the person, it's about the hidden world that forms between you and them. A stolen glance across the room. A message that pops up when no one else is watching. A conversation that feels electric only because it shouldn't exist. Each moment is like throwing gasoline on the fire of desire. The brain exaggerates attraction when boundaries are in place. Think about someone who never crossed your mind before, until you learned they were already taken, or suddenly became off-limits. That's when your thoughts start circling them, as if they've transformed into someone irresistible. But it's not that they changed, it's that your brain did. What once felt ordinary now feels urgent, exciting, almost like forbidden fruit. This is why sneaking texts late at night feels so addictive. It's not just the content of the message, it's the ACT itself. The risk, the secrecy, the possibility of getting caught. The adrenaline rush mixes with dopamine, creating a cocktail that tricks your body into thinking this is passion at its purest. And yet, it's often not passion at all. It's your brain reacting to danger, like a moth drawn to flame. Daydreams feed the cycle too. You're sitting in class or at work, and your mind drifts to that one person you shouldn't think about. In your head, the story unfolds, the conversation you never had, the kiss that never happened, the alternate life you secretly imagine. These fantasies are vivid not because the person is perfect, but because they are forbidden. Your brain paints them brighter, more alluring, more magnetic than reality ever could. And here lies the paradox. The more unavailable something is, the more our brains inflate its value. A closed door doesn't just mean no, it means mystery. It means potential. It means there must be something worth hiding behind it. But when it comes to love, that instinct becomes dangerous, because what the brain perceives as a thrilling secret is often just a shortcut to heartbreak. The secrecy fuels the connection. The risk makes it feel deeper. The rarity makes it feel precious. Yet strip those away, and often there isn't much left. Think about it this way. If the person you secretly crave were suddenly single, suddenly available, how long would the intensity last? Would the fire burn as bright if there were no boundaries to cross, no risks to take? For many, the answer is no. The attraction was never about the person. It was about the danger of wanting them. Still, this cycle continues, because the brain is wired to repeat it. Every little interaction with someone forbidden triggers another dopamine release. Every secret moment becomes a reward. And the more you repeat the pattern, the deeper the grooves in your mind become. Soon, you're not just desiring the person. You're addicted to the thrill of desiring them. Let's be honest. Some of the most intense connections in our lives weren't built on deep compatibility or long conversations. They were built on secrecy, on adrenaline, on the rush of doing what we knew we shouldn't. Maybe it was texting someone while sitting next to your partner. Maybe it was fantasizing about a friend's boyfriend or girlfriend. Maybe it was falling for a coworker even though you knew the risks. These moments felt electric, not because they were right, but because they were wrong. The danger made it feel alive. The secrecy made it feel sacred. The scarcity made it feel priceless. Put all of that together, and forbidden love becomes one of the most addictive experiences the human mind can create. But here's the cost. What feels like a spark of passion often burns everything around it. Trust, stability, self-respect. People chase forbidden love as if it were a cure for emptiness, only to realize it leaves them emptier than before. Because once the secrecy fades, once the risk is gone, the truth comes into focus. And often, the truth is not nearly as romantic as the fantasy. So, when we ask, why does forbidden love feel so addictive? The answer lies in the way our brains are wired. It's a mix of dopamine, scarcity, secrecy, and danger. It is not love in its purest form. It is a trick of the mind, a trap we fall into, a shadow that feels solid until we try to hold it. And yet, despite knowing this, we still chase it. We still reach for what we shouldn't. Maybe because deep down, we are not just creatures of reason, we are creatures of longing. And longing is strongest when it's told no. At the heart of it all lies a truth about the human condition. We are creatures drawn to what is hidden, what is locked away, what carries the label "do not touch." The moment something is placed out of reach, it begins to glow in our imagination. A closed door doesn't just stay closed, it becomes a symbol. We begin to wonder what lies behind it, whether it hides treasure or danger, whether opening it will set us free or destroy us. Forbidden love lives in that space between the door and the imagination. It is not simply about another person. It is about the parts of ourselves we discover in wanting them. The thrill, the ache, the hunger. They act like a mirror. And in their reflection, we glimpse our hidden desires, the ones we keep caged because we fear what they might reveal. Desire has always been like a shadow, close, elusive, following us everywhere. We chase it down corridors like a labyrinth, turning corners only to find another dead end, another mask staring back at us. Sometimes the shadow is faint, a passing thought. Other times it grows taller than us, overwhelming, impossible to escape. And yet, it is ours. The shadow is not separate from us. It is us, showing us the truths we are too afraid to name in the daylight. This is why forbidden love feels so unsettling. It shakes loose the masks we wear. In daily life, we dress ourselves in roles: partner, friend, professional, child, parent. These roles act as armor, keeping our deeper impulses contained. But when we feel the pull of something we're not supposed to want, the mask slips. Suddenly, we are confronted with a version of ourselves we didn't expect to meet. A version that is reckless, hungry, defiant. A version that asks, what if I step closer to the edge? In those moments, desire becomes a cage and a key at the same time. It traps us in longing, yet promises freedom if we only dare to reach for it. The cage is built from the rules of society, the vows we've made, the lines we've drawn. But the key, the key lies in the thrill of breaking them. To touch what is forbidden feels like rattling the cage until the bars bend. Even if only for a second, the taste of freedom feels worth the risk. And yet, freedom built on secrecy is a fragile illusion. Like a labyrinth made of mirrors, it keeps us circling, never arriving. The deeper we go, the more distorted our reflection becomes. We think we are moving toward love, but often we are only moving toward ourselves, toward the parts of us that crave danger, that crave intensity, that crave rebellion. This is the paradox. Forbidden love is less about the other person, and more about the truths we uncover in ourselves. It exposes the hunger for risk, the fear of missing out, the ache for something extraordinary when life feels ordinary. It reveals the cracks in our lives, the unspoken loneliness, the craving for validation, the longing for fire when the days feel cold. Desire, then, is not just a pull toward another body. It is a revelation. It shows us where we feel caged. It shows us where we feel empty. It shows us what we are willing to risk and what we are afraid to lose. In that sense, forbidden love is both a danger and a teacher. A danger because it tempts us toward choices that can shatter trust and stability. A teacher because it uncovers the raw truth of who we are when the mask falls away. We chase forbidden love, not only because of who they are, but because of who we are in their presence. With them, we are bolder, riskier, alive in ways we rarely feel. They awaken the part of us that refuses to be tamed, and that awakening can feel like a gift, even when it is also a curse. Perhaps this is why forbidden love lingers so long in memory. Even if it never becomes reality, the feelings it stirred remind us of our hidden depths. It is like standing at the edge of a cliff, knowing you could jump, but also knowing you might not survive the fall. That edge becomes unforgettable, not because you leapt, but because you saw yourself standing there, trembling between fear and desire. So, when we speak of forbidden love, we are not only speaking of secrecy or betrayal. We are speaking of a mirror that reveals our shadows, our masks, our cages, our labyrinths. It reflects back the raw truth that we are human, flawed, and endlessly hungry for what lies just beyond reach. And maybe that's the hardest part to accept. That forbidden love is not only about the person we want, but about the reflection it shows us of ourselves, a reflection that can liberate us or destroy us, depending on how long we stare. Forbidden love, at its core, is not just about another person. It is about us, about the fragile and vulnerable places in our hearts that hunger for what is out of reach. The obsession, the secrecy, the endless spirals of thought. They are signposts pointing us toward deeper truths. They reveal where we are wounded, where we feel unseen, where we crave intensity to make up for emptiness. When we reframe this obsession, we begin to see it less as a curse and more as a teacher. Yes, it can break trust, destroy relationships, leave scars, but it also reveals the cracks inside us, the places that need healing. It shows us the difference between desire that consumes us and love that sustains us. It reminds us that the fire of temptation is not always the fire of truth. The first step toward transformation is to stop glamorizing the unavailable. We must recognize how much of the allure is an illusion, a trick of the brain. The glow of scarcity makes ordinary people seem extraordinary. The rush of secrecy makes fleeting moments feel eternal. But when we pull back the curtain, we often see that what we chased was not real love, but our own projections. By refusing to put forbidden desire on a pedestal, we begin to break the spell. The second step is to break the cycle of secrecy and self-sabotage. Secrets create the illusion of intimacy, but they are prisons made of silence. The more you hide, the more you feed the obsession. Healing begins when you bring the truth into the open. First to yourself, then into your actions. If you've been caught in a cycle of sneaking texts, hidden messages, or quiet fantasies, it's time to ask, what need am I really trying to fill? Am I searching for passion because I feel numb? Am I seeking validation because I feel unworthy? Awareness shatters the illusion. Honesty frees us from the cage. The third step is to build self-worth that doesn't depend on forbidden validation. At the heart of forbidden desire lies a longing to feel chosen, to feel special, in a world where we sometimes feel invisible. But when that validation comes from someone who isn't truly available, it becomes hollow. Real worth is not borrowed from secrecy. It is grown from within. Invest in the parts of your life that make you whole, your passions, your friendships, your dreams. The more you stand in your own value, the less you'll need someone else's stolen attention to remind you that you matter. The fourth step is to learn the difference between love and addiction. Love is steady. It builds. It deepens over time. Addiction is restless. It needs secrecy, scarcity, constant fuel to survive. Forbidden love often feels like love, but behaves like addiction, demanding more, burning faster, leaving you emptier with each fix. When you feel that rush, ask yourself, is this passion growing roots, or is it just keeping me hooked? The answer is often the difference between healing and heartbreak. And then, there is the matter of betrayal. For those who have been cheated on, the pain is sharp, undeniable. Betrayal is not just about another body. It is about broken trust, about someone choosing secrecy over honesty. But here is the truth. Cheaters only hold as much power as you give them. Every time you replay what they did, every time you let them live rent-free in your head, you hand them another piece of yourself. But you don't have to. You can stop giving them your energy. You can cut the cord. Because here's the reality. A cheater's choices are about their own emptiness, their own hunger, their own weakness. It was never proof that you were not enough. It was proof that they were too small to honor what they had. And you don't rise by clinging to their shadow. You rise by letting go, by saying, you do not get to define my worth. You do not get to decide my story. You may have wounded me, but you will not keep me down. Healing means reclaiming your energy from the people who never deserved it. It means closing the door on the unavailable and opening your life to those who choose you fully, without secrecy, without half-truths. It means refusing to waste one more heartbeat chasing what was never meant for you. So take the lesson that forbidden love offers. It is not about the fantasy, not about the person, but about the reflection it showed you. Take that mirror and use it to see yourself clearly, not as broken, not as lacking, but as someone capable of choosing freedom over obsession, self-worth over secrecy, real love over illusions. And if you've been cheated on, here is your final reminder. Stop giving them power. Stop letting their betrayal replay in your mind like a movie you can't turn off. Their story ended when they chose dishonesty. Yours begins when you choose healing. When you cut them off from your thoughts, you take back your strength. When you stop caring about cheaters, you rise into a life they can no longer touch. Desire will always be part of being human, but you are not its prisoner. You can turn destructive desire into self-knowledge, into freedom, into fuel for building a life that doesn't depend on shadows. If this resonated with you, take it as a reminder. You are stronger than the pull of secrecy, stronger than the sting of betrayal, stronger than the illusions that once held you. And if you're ready to keep exploring the hidden forces that shape us, our desires, our identities, our shadows, then subscribe to Beyond Persona Lab. This is where we dive into the truths most people are afraid to name, and where we rise stronger together.